Now, the Senate on Tuesday approved the Conference Committee report on the Electoral Act Amendment Bill, and that was after Senate Leader Yahya Abdullahi moved a motion for it. The Senate House of Representatives had in July passed different versions of the bill. While the Senate proposed either direct or indirect mode of the party primary, the House of Representatives made direct primary mandatory for all parties. The Senate also, in its version, empowered the Nigeria Communication Commission to determine the electronic transmission of election results. The House did not give such powers to the NCC in its version. The provision caused an outrage, with many calling on the Senate to follow the example of the House of Representatives, which adopted the use of technology where practicable. Now, for more on this, we are now being joined by Dr. Leonard Nzemwa, who is the National Chairman of Inter-Party Advisory Council. I want to say thank you very much for joining us today. And what do you make of this confusion or impasse between both legislative chambers right now?
Please, can I hear you again? Sorry, I didn't get the last stretch of the question, please.
What do you make of the impasse between both legislative chambers right now in terms of elections, electoral amendment bill, and moving forward?
One thing I can tell you is that if a house stands against itself, that house will definitely fall. And for a house not to stand together means there are inherent dislocations, inherent gaps, inherent miscommunications that are responsible for it. I told Nigerians when the electronic transmission of election results was agreed by the Senate. I told Nigerians not to over-dramatize. They should not over-dramatize in their joy. That I see that as not being a rule, that something definitely will come in between the joy of Nigerians. And prophetically, before we know what was happening, we now saw the insertion of that has to do with direct primary. It is not strange. I'm not particularly surprised about the impasse. It will keep on going on there because the design and the motivation for why the electoral amendment and all its content, all subsection is not properly done with the motive of advancing or progressing the polity or the political ecosystem.
So, Dr. Nzemwa, you said that the motives aren't exactly for the advancement of the polity. Can you expatiate on who the beneficiaries of this are and what your personal opinions are on the direct primaries and indirect?
Yes, let me. When I speak with several caps at the same time.
Okay.
I speak first of all as a Nigerian that has a stake in the Nigerian project. That is one. I speak secondly as the national chairman of the African Action Congress, one of the political parties, one of the 18 political parties that is legitimately registered in this country. I also speak under the banner or under the canopy as the national chairman of Inter-Party Advisory Council of Nigeria, which is IPAC, the body that is responsible for all the 18 political parties that is registered in Nigeria. So when I speak, I'm coming with these several caps. Now, we are not soothsayer to say that direct primary is simply impracticable. It is simply, it's something that came from the left spin of the brain. Just to use that in that quote, let me be very clear about it. If you are saying we are going to have direct primaries, you need to understand the stakeholders that are involved in the political electoral system and the political ecosystem. A key stakeholder is the political party. Another stakeholder is actually INEC. So these are the two preeminent core stakeholders in the political electoral process. Now, INEC, the previous Electoral Act, clearly says that it is optional, that a political party has the right to undertake to conduct its primary either directly or indirectly. But now it says it's directly. Now, the direct primary is a fallout of what we call the Athenian democracy. That is what obtains during the Greek era. And this direct primary was done in the days of the blind people, in the days when you have the Greek culture. where they have what they call sortition. Now, even that in itself was limited suffrage, in the sense that you only have male of 20 years old who could exercise their franchise. On the other hand, they have what they call sortition, which is like balloting. You now have a class of the society also coming together to ballot for those who will also partake in the electoral process in the alternate era. Now, is this what we are going to bring in the year 2021? No. Now, even advanced clients like United States, where we borrow our presidential system from, we have the colleges system, which is a marriage of between direct and indirect primary. Now, why are we kicking against direct primary? We are kicking against direct primary because political parties in this country do not have the infrastructure to undertake this kind of level of engagement of direct primary. You need to consider the resources that is involved. You need to consider the logistics that's involved.
All right.
You need to consider
Dr. Ezewa, permit me because of time. I want to throw this into the ring in terms of, some will say this is democracy.
I can hear you. There's a glitch.
Okay, can you hear me right now? Some will say this is democracy in motion, literally, whereby we disagree to agree. While some are saying that, no, that politicians that we see these days are self-serving and they are not thinking of the rest of Nigerians and they're not thinking of the rest of the demographic they're supposed to be serving as against what benefits them as politicians to keep power. Which of this school of thoughts do you buy into?
Well, I think I only get the last leg of your question. But if I understand you properly, you're looking at a situation between the politicians and the people. That's if that's the sense of I'm getting from your question. Now, no political party is anti-people. Political parties are made for the people, and it's the people that populate political parties. Now, why we are saying that it is not practicable, it's not feasible. Let me just draw graphically, you will understand what I'm saying. For instance, you have a political party that have a 10 million membership base. 10 million membership base. And this 10 million membership base, you can manage a Congress at the world level, which has a small number of persons with enormous resources. You can also manage that is if you adopt direct primary. You can also manage the number of membership base at the local government level at very huge expense and logistic nightmare. But if you're going to have a national convention to elect key national officials or to elect the president or members of the National Assembly, now you can now see where we have the problem.
Yes.
The problem is, the direct problem now is, are we going to have the 10 million persons that are members of this political party to be in a particular arena to conduct a direct primary to now get who will now represent them? These are some of the things that we're not clearly thought out through. Now,
Dr. Ezenwa, just before you get to that next point, we must cut for the sake of time. Very engaging conversation. We thank you so much for your time on Arise Newsday this afternoon and hope to speak to you once again.